Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Now, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but in a way I'm going to sound like a broken record, because all this information that keeps coming out, all of these new reports, one after another continue to pile on, showing one very clear image, that something is happening. There is some sort of political shift that is currently brewing. The one thing I keep saying is that this election feels so much like 2016. Donald Trump is no longer the incumbent president running for re-election. Donald Trump is once again the political outsider, offering a different image, different solutions than what the lame status quo is currently offering. In 2016, it was the end of Barack Obama's second term. We were living through a slow growth economy where Obama said stuff like, well, you know, we're going to remain under 2% growth because you can't achieve higher unless you have a magic wand. That kind of pathetic American stagnation mentality. And of course, couple that with the most pathetic foreign policy track record you could possibly imagine. Well, Joe Biden's first 3 years in office, pretty much the exact same thing, I'd argue. I'd say less slow growth and more like no growth. More like everyone getting crushed under the pressure of inflation. And well, on foreign policy, I mean, his track record pretty much speaks for itself. It's a very similar dynamic. We're seeing the corporate Washington establishment, the current Democrat establishment, essentially fail to deliver a higher standard of living. And Donald Trump as the outsider, each and every single passing day looks like a better option. There's something brewing here, folks. But I'm not just going to say it, I'm not just going to tell you. I'm going to show you. Firstly, I got a Fox News focus group that I want to show you with one particular individual who's going to help build the voter sentiment point. And then I'm going to show you more specific data, which I think will show you guys the current standing of Donald Trump's, let's call it, re-election campaign. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so let's first start off with this moment on Fox News that a lot of people are passing around all over Twitter. This video has already amassed over 2 million views on one post alone. Take a look at this.
What do you think about this, the indictment? Where does this go?
Well, I'm not honestly exactly sure what to think of it yet. I think that they have found something that they can charge him with that is insulated from his father, and hopefully maybe get it taken care of early enough that they can say, see, we're done with Hunter. Let's not use that as a political situation during the election time.
Jamil, how about you?
I think considering this investigation took 5 years and these are the charges they brought, and after this sweetheart plea deal collapsed in court, I honestly think they're going to wait a couple of months until a trial against Trump happens, and they're going to try another plea deal in another district. I think we can see, since Republicans have taken control of the House, we've seen so much evidence that these charges have been stymied and the investigation has been covered up mostly. So I think this is just them playing face. This is Biden needs some kind of win that he has a secure Department of Justice. And this honestly is just a sham.
I know that you're a Democrat. You're more conservative Democrat, right?
Yes.
Who do you like in this election?
I think I'm mostly geared towards Donald Trump.
Really?
I think I've seen, yes, I have seen the pullout of Afghanistan from Joe Biden, and then I watched him check his watch during the funeral of the servicemen. And I think if we were to go to a war, I'm prime age to be drafted, and I don't want him to check his watch while they're burying me. I don't believe that he's a competent commander-in-chief, and then he'd probably blame my death on climate change in the same way he blamed the pullout in Afghanistan on Donald Trump. I've seen no...
I think the takeaway for me is that Joe Biden every single day is getting closer and closer to the end of his political career. Now, obviously, considering Joe Biden's health issues, let's say, it's not exactly a controversial statement. Like, legitimately, he's kind of reaching the end of his career, the end of his life as he gets so old. But I'm not making that statement based on Joe Biden's age, more so Joe Biden's image. I think people are done with this guy. I think he has had ample time to show voters that the Democrat narrative is correct and that actually he's fit and in great shape and ready to go, ready to rock and roll. But he obviously hasn't been able to turn it around. It's gone from Afghanistan to scandal after scandal after scandal. In every single instance where Joe Biden could have collected some sort of big PR win, he's failed to do so. In fact, it's pretty much been disaster after disaster. He's failed in his response on every single major issue. And then when voter frustration continues to mount, well, Joe Biden does what he usually does. He runs away from conflict. He runs away from the issue. He disappears to Wilmington, Delaware, never to be seen again, or probably to reemerge. Talking about wiping his butt 2 weeks later.
What must be what?
People just don't have faith in Joe Biden. They don't view him as presidential. They don't view him as leadership material. And I think a great example of this is the point that was made by the young individual on Fox earlier. He said, if we were to go into a war, I'm at prime age to be drafted and I don't want him checking his watch while they're burying me. That shows an overall sentiment and feeling about Joe Biden as the leader of the country, the leader of the free world, and of course, the leader of the military. People don't have faith in him to do the right thing, to act the right way, to act like the proper diplomat, the proper statesman, but most importantly, the proper leader. People don't believe this guy just has the stuff, has what it takes to be the guy, and then on top of it, you add his age, you add the dementia, the policy track record. You know, the whole Joe Biden product package just doesn't seem like something people are willing to purchase. It's not a transaction that ends in a satisfied customer. People are waiting in line at the return center, hoping at bare minimum to at least be able to swap the product out. And what's on the shelf currently? Donald J. Trump. You know, it's that old crappy toy that's all broken and mangled, cheaply made in China and doesn't work, and then there's Donald Trump sitting on that shelf in a brand new, pristine looking box, ready to go, ready to basically pick up where he left off. And each and every single day, my belief is increasingly so that more and more people are coming to that exact conclusion on a daily basis. Folks, it's data like this that really cements that point and probably has the Democrats behind the scenes in their strategic war rooms panicking beyond measure. Swing state poll results could spell big troubles for Joe Biden. Former President Donald Trump appears to have an advantage against President Joe Biden in 2024 among key battleground states in the 2020 election, according to a Friday poll. The states that had the narrowest margin of victory for either candidate last election cycle were Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, with Biden winning all of these except for North Carolina. But according to those key swing states, Trump is ahead of Biden right now in the polls at 41% to 35% and 24% of voters remaining undecided. So I really hope that you guys pick that up. Reuters/Ipsos did a post-Donald Trump indictment/mugshot poll from September 8th to September 14th involving over 4,400 US adults. That is a pretty substantial survey in all of the most important key swing states, and Trump is leading by 6. Donald Trump doesn't even need to win all of those states. He only needs to pick up, I think, 3 significant ones. He picks up Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and the thing's pretty much over. Add Georgia to the list and we're talking about a freaking electoral landslide. Donald Trump is currently ahead of the polls. He's not only ahead in the aggregate polling data, he's ahead big time where it actually matters. In fact, in a 2024 Georgia general election poll conducted by Rasmussen, and this survey sample was with likely voters, not registered voters and not adults, Donald Trump is leading Joe Biden by 9 points in Georgia currently. That's according to Rasmussen. Like I keep saying, folks, I think there's something brewing. You know, if we go back to the Reuters Ipsos poll, they conducted a survey with 4,400 adults. So these aren't registered voters, this is just general adult sentiment, it's not likely voters either. But that right there I think is going to be the most important factor. I think most likely headed into the next election, we're going to see a new, highly motivated voter head to the poll. If we look at political leaners, if we look at undecided voters, and if we look at independents in independent states, we are seeing a clear break for Donald Trump. At the end of the day, it comes to voter turnout. At the end of the day, it comes to changing people's minds. Is sleepy, creepy, piss pants Joe, my butt's been wiped Joe, really convincing new voters to head to the polls to elect him for a second term? I just don't see it. Where the opposite factor, Donald Trump being casted as a political martyr, and people looking back to 2016 to the 2019 period where things were booming, where the economy was blasting, I think a lot of people right now don't feel great about the current economic situation, and they're looking for answers, they're looking for possible solution, most importantly, they're looking for change. And that change might be, let's go back 5 years ago. Let's bring Donald Trump back because clearly the guy who's currently in power is an absolute utter disaster. I just have this feeling that something is brewing under the surface. But of course, we'll have to see exactly how things evolve. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. That's the latest update. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.